Buddy, my name is Jesper Anker, and I'm joined by Julian Chu and Bobson. How are you guys doing?
Hello, I'm
I'm doing very
excited.
well
That's
today.
that's always good to hear. So we're doing our second race preview of the season. Last time we previewed, or Julian and I previewed the Australian road races. Today we're previewing the Santos Tour Down Under, which is starting this Monday, and we're all very excited for this. This is the first UCI Pro Tour race of the season. So Chu, why don't you run us through some of the riders that are going to be competing in this race?
Okay, well, I want to go through the favorites, and going in, I think the unbackable favorite right now is Richie Port. I mean, he's had he had a really good ride last year, uh, and leading into this year, he's had the individual time trial, which really stood out to everyone because everyone thought Roland Dennis, yeah, he's going for the hour record, and Richie Port comes out of nowhere and just really shows how strong he is right now at this point of the season, and he's like unbackable favorite right now. And when you look at other contenders, it's hard to see anyone that could maybe challenge him. There's Cadell Evans last year, last two races, Luis Leon Sanchez. Then you look at Orica, they probably have maybe Cameron Meyer, maybe Simon Clark.
MP as
Then
well.
Giant, yeah, Giant, they probably have Simon Geschke, who knows what kind of form he is. There's a lot of guys where you just don't know what shape they're in, and there's big names like Ryder Hesjedal, there's Geraint Thomas, who knows what form they're in, even Michael Rogers and Positive Evo. So it's a race that it's very unknown, and sure, Richie Port's got to be a favourite because we know he's in some kind of form, so that's why he is the favourite.
So, I agree with you on that one as well. I agree that Richie Port is the clear-cut favorite here. But Bob, Team Cannondale Garming are bringing a very, very strong team. Why don't you run us through their team as well?
Well, first of all, they of course have Ryder Hagedal, who is just, I mean, he's Grand Tour winner, so obviously very strong. Nathan Haas also very very strong puncher, which is great for this type of race. They also bring Moreno Moser and Valela, two of the new Cannondale guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how they perform. Alex Howes showed well in the American type races that also have these kind of hilly routes. And Jack Barrow and Lost Norman Hansen, they're just there. They're there.
Domestiques, I agree.
Yeah.
So, they have three captains on that team is the way I look at it. They got Moreno Mercer, they got Nathan Haas, and Brada Hesjedal. Who do you think they're going to be riding for, if any?
I think that I don't think Moreno Moser will be given leadership at really. I think that I mean he's very young and on Cannondale he might have gotten leadership in this race because they had literally no one except for Sagan. But I think that he really is going to be more of like a free element. He can kind of do what he wants in this race and show off. But I think that really who they're going to be going for is Nathan Haas and Ryder Hagedal. And Garmin are very good at putting their leaders together and just letting them work together in tandem. And I think that's what's going to happen here. We don't really know if either of them are on form, but like Ju said before, it's like that. This is that kind of race because it's the first World Tour race in the season. And so some of these Aussie guys you might have seen before, but you're not gonna really have seen any of the other guys yet in this season yet. So it's really a matter of how have they been training outside, which we can't really know. But I think that Garmin will go in with two leaders and they'll just work together, and whoever comes out on top will just do that for them. I think that'll be fine.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I agree with you that one, that Cannondale, they have some issues on their team. It's not really issues, but if there would have been another team, I think it would have been an issue to have two, well, captains. Look at Belkin in the past. They've had three favorites going to the tour, and they couldn't really figure out which one they were going for. But I think Garming has done well in the past. But I think one guy that you guys forgot to mention was Tom Dumoulin. Out of all the guys competing in Santos Tour Down Under, Tom Dumoulin was the guy who scored the most amount of points according to Pro Cycling Stats ranking system, which isn't always the best. It has its flaws, but still, Tom Dumoulin is a name worth mentioning because I don't know if they're going for Tom Dumoulin or Simon Geschke, because in an interview to, I believe it was to Wheel of Flits, I just read it earlier today, Tom Dumoulin said that, well, his form is not really there, we'll see where it goes, but if form is there, he's definitely going to be a top 5 contender, and in my book, Tom Dumoulin top 5 is not out of reach for him. But now, we discussed some of the riders in this, and we'll probably discuss some more as we go through the stages, and that's what we're going to do right now. Stage 1 is a very flat stage, very typical Santos Tour Down Under. Julian, who do you think is going to be the biggest contenders for this stage and why?
I really think this is a clear-cut race. I think it's going to be Marcel Kittel. I don't see him losing this at all, unless the climbs are like steeper than what the profile showed them to be. He's not. He's just going to win it pretty comfortably. And we saw this at the Giro last year, where there was just like no other sprinters in his league. And if you look at the Santos Tour Down Under field this year, it's pretty much like the Giro. You got Nizzolo, Renshaw, like all those second like tier sprinters, and no one's even near his class. I just don't see him losing. We'll get a really good gauge, I believe tomorrow or when the People's Choice Classic. And if he wins that, I'm pretty comfortable that he's gonna win this stage, the stage 1 stage. I mean, let's look at the sprinters. There's really no one who's really there. No one really has the best lead-out train as well. Giant do have a pretty strong team, like Colin Decourt, Tom Dumoulin, Albert Timmer. Yeah, guys that can ride on the flat, so I think Kittel's the undeniable favourite going in.
Yeah,
sure.
And with Greipel not showing up this year, I mean, that must make Kittel even more of a favourite, because this is Greipel's race to win the last last 3 years. Greipel's gone to this race and dominated the sprints and dominated the People's Choice Classic Award, or whatever it's called. I never really heard of it before.
He's won the most stages ever in the Santos Tour Down Under.
And he's not there this year, so I think it's time for another German to step up. And if Marcel Kittel does something, he's going to go and win everything. But if he does not show up, then he's going to be 50th, 60th, like he's done the last 2 years he's been here. Marcel Kittel is hit or miss. What do you think, Bob? Who are you looking out for?
I mean, Kittel is obviously also the biggest favorite on any flat stage with a sprint finish, but he didn't really do anything here last year, really, and he still was good the rest of the season. So I don't really think that shows anything that he's gonna do or anything that he has done so far. There's no big sprinters. There's no Cav here, but there's a good ensemble of second tier, third tier sprinters, and if any of them get it right one day, they could take him.
That's true. I'm looking for Henrik Hausler to do something, because he just won the national championship, and I know it's riding the hype train that he just beat Caleb Ewan. That's the only sprinter in that group, but he beat him. But Henrik Hausler, he's got a confidence boost from winning that race, the national championship, and I think a top 3, top 5 is not out of reach. He even said that to Velo News, I believe it was, that he's hungry for more. He's going into Santos Tour Down Under expecting at least one stage win, and that's a lot when you go up against the likes of Kittel, Mearsman and Solo, Daryl Limpy, Lobato, Samuel Dumoulin, all proven sprinters.
It's a lot to expect, and honestly, Hausler, I watched him a lot when he was at Garmin. I don't know if he really has that. Like, if you look at the national road champs, I think that Caleb Ewan is just a tad overrated for how young he is, and he's still got a lot to learn. And I think that one thing that he needed to learn was to not just keep following every attack or making attacks. And I think that contributed more to Hausler than like his rejuvenated sprinting ability, and I don't think he could challenge a guy like Kittel, really.
I agree. Do you agree with that, Ju?
Yeah. Well, I think Hausler, the stages he's got targeted is the more hillier ones, because he can probably get over a few of them. He got over the ones at the Road National Championships. It was a tough day, 180 kilometers, so it's about as tough as you're going to get here at the Santos Tour Down Under. And there is days where it's a bit hilly here and there, and it would suit him. But then there's also other guys like Nathan Haas who will get over him. There's Steele Van Hoff. So it's still going to be very interesting, no matter what day it is.
Speaking of hilly stages, stage 2 is the first real test for Henrik Hausler. Is he really rejuvenated, or was he just lucky to catch the right wheel in the national championship? Because it is a really tough stage, and it's I mean, we're seeing more of this in the professional scene now. We're gonna see like hilly sprints. This was a theme in the Walter Spania for so long, and it's now brought down to not low-level racing, but definitely lower-level racing. So a stage like this,
Yeah.
Nathan Haas, as you said, could do something. Daryl Impey, in my book, is a clear-cut favorite to win this stage. Also, I know the betting outlets are saying Daryl Impey, this is his stage to win. Who else are we forgetting that could do something in a stage like this? And in solo, who else could do
Maybe
something?
Nizzolo.
Nizzolo's he's not that great on hills at all, like speed bumps.
Maybe even a
You know,
breakaway could win this.
I stand by Steel Van Hoff. You know, if that day at the Road National Championship the break didn't go, he would have win. He came across the line first ahead in the peloton, and I still think he's really good. Like this is his time. Like he needs to win races to get a contract because he lost a contract last year at Garmin with the joint merger. So I'm looking at him to really, if not win stages, he'll get really consistent results like top three. So
But the
he's
problem with him though, Chu, is that he's at the Australian team, the UNAC. How's that even pronounced?
in the University of South Australia,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. Yeah,
But
they
how
got they
much?
got decent riders though. They got Bob Richards there. Neil Vandenploeg had a really good ride. Jack Hay can climb. Robert Power he's a time trial rider, sort of like Campbell Flakemore. So Alexander Edmondson was just won like under 23, like I don't know, road title. So I think that he's still got a very decent team. A lot of the guys can ride, so it's not like there's just riders from out in the street or whatever. So he's got a decent team. I mean, if he's going to win, he's got to do it in his own anyway in the sprint because he's not going to have lead out guys anyway. I
Exactly.
don't think much other teams would either. So
That's gonna be my point as well. Because do you really think that group of people is gonna come together and work for one guy? Because how I look at this is a bunch of individuals from different teams that are all here riding for their shot. So I think they're
yeah.
not really gonna work together. Steven Hoff is alone, even though his team is stars, like star-filled. I still don't think they're gonna ride for him. But looking at this, also the final 3 kilometers are pretty much flat. So if Kittle comes over the bumps, he could actually do something still. I mean, you can't rule out Kittle on a day like this. And I think if you're better, Kittle is gonna be high in value on a day like this because he could be a surprise, even though he's not really a surprise. What do you think about that, Bob?
I think that I think it would be looking at the profiles for these kind of races are deceiving, and if you look at it, I think Kittle very well could. If you remember, I don't exactly remember what race this was, but there was a race last year where nobody thought he had made it over the climbs, and he just popped up, and he did.
Yep, I remember
I
that one.
usually he can't. He usually just can't make it over speed bumps. But if he has a good day, nobody knows.
That's a very good point. If anybody has a good day, anybody can win. That's basically what you're saying, though. So let's look at stage 3. Stage 3 is something different this year. They have added another hilltop finish, which is very exciting because last year they had Corkscrew Road and Valonga Hill. Very exciting. And this year they're adding another hill finish. But where is this actually at? It's at Paracombe. I know Orky Green has talked about this in their backstage pass. Chew. First climb test, or first real test of the Saturday Under. Who do you expect to make a mark on this, or make a move on this stage?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be the GC sort out. I think that stage is still going to be Wollonga Hill. I think this stage is going to be suited for someone like a Luis Leon Sanchez who does have some pop, who's got a decent engine. I think he can do something. I expect the big GC guys to really be there because it's a day where you got to be at the top there. I don't see a breakaway getting away because breakaways, the peloton's not going to let the break get much time because as a GC contender, you're in a small stage race like this. There's not much stages that are very decisive. They're not going to really let too much breaks go. If there is going to if there is going to be a break, it's probably like maybe a 10-second maximum. So I think it's going to be someone like Luis Leon Sanchez. That's who I have for this stage. I heard was it Matt White talk about this like a month ago, and he had this down as a Luis Leon Sanchez stage as well. So could well be.
Do you think Luis Sanchez is going to attack in the end, or in that little climb with the downhill? Because he's been known to do that before, even. What do you think?
Sure, I think he could attack at the end. Even at the climb, it wouldn't surprise me, but I think he's going to be at the end. Yeah.
Very exciting. So, Bob, what do you think about this stage? Do you think Richie Porte is going to do something, or do you believe that Luis Leon Sanchez type of rider, more like a puncher, will win this stage?
Probably, I think that a guy like it's really hard to guess, but
Hmm.
Richie Porte has never been great on hills, just like short hills, and just like we were saying before, it's not a huge hill really. So I'd rather favor a puncher. I don't think Luis Leon Sanchez would be a great pick because he's one of those guys where if he's not there, he's not there, and he's just not going to do anything. Because he's not really in the mix for GC, he's not really going for that. So because of that, if he doesn't really figure that he has good legs that day, he's a bad bet in total.
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to call out one guy. You know how many times people called out Vokeler last TDF and just no.
Yeah.
So I have trouble picking a favorite, but I'm pretty sure it'll be more of a punchier type guy. I don't see a sprinter, obviously, but
Hmm.
one of those kind of accelerating, punchy kind of guys.
That archetype also fits this profile. It's a puncher with a little bit of finish in it as well. One thing we gotta keep in mind though is Richie Porte is in a contract year. His contract is running out at the end of the season. And I know BMC said that they were looking into getting Richie Porte when the season is over, and this would fit Richie Porte as well because I think Richie Porte really needs to do something this year if he wants to get a contract. Because
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think Sky is gonna renew it because they already have so many new stars coming up. And also, if I was Richie Porte, I don't think I would renew it because you want to get your chance to be a favorite somewhere. Because how old is he now? Like 28, 29? Like
yeah,
you're reaching your
Young.
peak. You want to go somewhere else, and now is your chance, Richie, to show that you can do something. You won Paris-Nice like what 2 years ago, and that was a good thing for your career. Now you got to start winning all the races where you're the captain because there are not gonna be many races like that. I believe stage 4 and stage 5 are both sprint stages with a little climb in it. Let's take a look. Stage 4, yes, and stage 5. Stage 5 is Valonga Hill. I was mistaken. Stage 5 is Valonga Hill. Stage 6, that's Adelaide,
yeah,
Adelaide. So let's skip stage 4 because I believe that's just going to be another sprint stage. Stage 5, Valonga Hill. Cadel Evans. Last year tried his best to win on this stage. Didn't work out for him. He's in the end of his season. He's stopping after the Cadel Evans Ocean Classic, I believe it's called. Do
yeah.
you think Cadel Evans is going to do something on this stage?
No,
To be honest, I really don't. I don't either. I mean, sure, he's had a huge past history. He's done it all, but I just don't think he's right there right now in the form. Even in the Road National Championships, he was okay. I mean, he showed. I don't think I watched him really closely in the climbs. He wasn't right there where I normally see him. Like he's normally at the front of the peloton, not missing any splits, and I just don't see that from him. They interviewed him in the before the race, and he was quite hesitant talking about his form. So I don't really think he's right there. So
yeah.
I definitely see whoever wins this stage is winning GC right now. I think that probably could go to Port.
Do you agree with that analogy, Bob?
I don't think that Cadel Evans is going to do anything because people get caught up in the drama. They say this is his last race. What do you think he's going to do? Him specifically, I don't think he's going to do anything. Honestly, there's a lot of guys in this race that performance-wise are better than him right now. So I don't think it being his last race that changes that. I think that he is just not the same kind of rider, and I don't think that just because this is his last race that he will do anything special. I see him finishing like top 15 GC, and I think that on Wollonga Hill he'll be around, but I don't see him winning it or doing anything better than top 10.
That's such a shame though, because Cadel Evans had such a great career, and unlike Tor Hushovd, it'd be fun to end it on a good note. Tor Hushovd got robbed of a victory. I don't like Cadel Evans as a person. I think he's a horrible person, but as a rider, I think he deserves one last victory, either here or at the Cadel Evans Ocean Classic. And I agree with you guys. I don't think it's gonna be here. I think we're gonna be looking for GC contenders, Putzo Vivo. We're gonna be looking out for Tom Dumoulin, as I mentioned before, Simon Geschke, Ryder Hesjedal, Nathan Hayes, Richie Porte, the clear-cut favorite.
Haas.
Well, how would you pronounce it?
Haas? Nathan.
Haas? Hayes?
Not Hayes.
So what's the different? I've heard people pronounce it different ways, isn't it? Nathan Hayes.
Nope.
What do you think? Julian, you're the
It's Haas. It's
Australian.
Haas, isn't it?
It's
It's
Haas.
normally Hear him,
Okay.
yeah, pronounce his Haas, yeah.
It's all different opinions on this. I mean, we've seen all different commentators say different things. Like, just watch Sean Kelly,
Well,
Phil Liggett, Cotton
we've heard
Kirby.
a lot of commentators say a lot of things,
Mistakes do happen.
including you,
Yeah.
Peter Nemec. So
Yeah, stuff does happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. You get caught up in the heat of the moment. But stage 5 is very exciting. Last year, with the battle between Simon Gerrans, Richie Porte, and Cadel Evans was very intriguing. I hope we're gonna see. I want to see like a 5-man battle for this. I don't want to see a trio. Like last year was a trio. I want to see more than 3 guys fighting for it, because this stage with 5 guys attacking each other could be so interesting. And if you're gonna stay up to watch only one stage of the Santos Tour Down Under, if you're living in Europe, this is the stage to stay up to watch. It's gonna be amazing. I can promise you that. Moving on though, stage 6 Adelaide. It's basically like Paris-Champs-Élysées of the Tour de France. It's just a parade. Then in the end, you do a sprint. Are we agreeing all on Kittel on this one if he wins the first stage?
yes,
Pretty much, yeah.
if he
Not
proves
worth
that he is in form, he will win this stage.
Exactly.
It is the most stereotypical flat short stage ever.
It's basically the People's Classic 2.0. It's flat, it's a circuit, it's 90 kilometers, it's going to a clear-cut sprinter. It's a fast sprinter here. Next up though, let's look at the weather, because the weather plays a difference normally in Australia, because it was raining. It didn't really rain in the National Championship, did it, you?
It was pretty much sunny. It was just a normal day.
It's a
Forecast
shame.
rain, nothing happened, yeah.
Could have made for a good race though. The time trial did rain, which probably ruined Juan Dennis's chances of winning it. You could argue that. You saw him in the Vuelta a España slide over the finish line. He's not a fan of rain. But according to the weather forecast on this, it looks to be all sunny, no wind, a bit of humidity, but that's to be expected. I think we're gonna have a week of good racing. What do you guys think?
I hope, or do not hope. I almost want it to rain.
You want it to rain? Why?
Because sometimes it's funny to see that.
I agree.
But on the other hand, it rained quite a lot last season. I could use seeing some cyclists ride in the sun for once.
Well, imagine the Tour de France Stage 5, the cobblestone stage without rain, without all the mud. Would that have been a better stage or worse stage?
No.
Do you agree, Julian?
Sure.
But I hope like
It's-
Bunga Hill is in the sun. Like I like that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
I didn't like the Giro snowing.
But that's the thing about the Giro. That's the charm of the Giro d'Italia. It's snow, it's horrible weather conditions. It's going to go to the Viking of the race, not the little Spaniard who's trying to attack away. Kind of funny, though. No, let's move on to the fourth, or I guess this is the fourth and final thing of this race preview. Of course, the bets. We are following some of the tipsters on Twitter, such as Pat Bets, Cycling Mole, and also Cycling Betting, named Ian on Twitter. I can tell you what they betted, but you can also just go to the forum, go to the Santos Tour Down Under thread, and then see what they bet. That's much easier, and there's a bit of explanation on there as well. So just go there instead of me explaining that to you right now. But Chu, I know you're also a small tipster. Who did you bet on and why?
First of all, I haven't really touched anything just yet. I think I'm gonna pick a stage to go for, maybe one the hillier ones, and I'm gonna go for outsider. I think that's where you get really good value. I've already put odds on Kittel on stage 1, that and the People's Choice Classic, because I just don't see him losing. But other than that, I think if you want value, just go for stage 2, the hillier stages, maybe a stage 3 or stage 4, I think, as well. So whenever stage you think is, any doubt, I think those are the ones where you go for like an outsider, maybe like a Chavanel or someone like that.
Well, I can tell you that Fayaskouchi and I both, we both put bets on Bet365. We put bets on the People's Choice Classic. We got Henrik Hausler at each way, meaning that we get money back if he gets the podium, first, second, or third. At 34, we put 0.6 points on him just for fun, because Henrik Hausler was in good shape, and well, if he's got the good nose again, if he knows where to place himself in the final sprint, he's going to be top 3. I can tell you though that where is he? I'm looking for Corn de Court. I don't know where he's at. 67 now. 2 days ago, Corn de Court was at 300 to 1. He's now at 67 to 1. Cycling Mole on Twitter said that Corey Court is a good chance of getting top 3 because the last 5 years there's been at least 2 guys from the same team on the podium, and that could happen again this year. The People's Choice Classic is a very fast race, and Corey Court being the final lead-out man for Marcel Kittel is pretty much guaranteed to be top 5 if Kittel wins. So at 300 to 1, putting at $1 on it's not stupid. Do you agree, guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Why not, Bob?
Because Conde Court won't do anything.
Well, it's not won't do anything, but if you look at statistics, and statistics do prove a thing, I believe it was Chris Sutton and somebody else from Sky, Elva Bosenhagen, got first and second in 2013. Then Greipel and Gregory Henderson got first and third in 2012. And Orca Greenwich also did something in 2011. It's people from the same team in on the podium in this. It's just how it goes. Let's move on, though. Head-to-heads, we also have a double header for the People's Choice Classic. Fias and I, we have Corey Court beating Eugenio Elefalaci, which, honestly, we don't really know who this guy even is, but we know Corey Court is going to do something. And then we also have Henrik Hausler beating Lasse Norman Hansen, because Lasse Norman Hansen is not a sprinter, he's not going to do anything.
See, like, the who would make that head-to-head, though? Like, who made that bet a thing? Like, that's not even that's not even a thing, though. Like...
It's pretty stupid.
Why would Lasse Norman Hansen, like, even be there? Why would he even be up there?
Watch out with what you say, though, because Lasse Norman Hansen might even attack and win the stage. Who knows?
Wow.
For the overall winner of the Tour Down Under, we only got scraps. We only got Richie Porte at 2.5. I know Chu mentioned, well, to me, off camera, that you could have had him at 4.0, which would have been amazing, because Richie Porte is not going to lose this race. But, on the final rope, is there anything you guys would add to this preview before we head off?
No, I think that's about it. It's going to be very entertaining. It's always an interesting race. It's the first race of the season. A lot of people are excited. Then let's hope it's a good race, because last year was pretty goddamn exciting. So we'll see what happens this year.
Exactly. Anything you would like to add, Bob?
I'm just happy to see the cycling season back. It's been quite the long off season, and I'm ready just to get back into the swing of watching some races.
I agree with you. If you guys like this race preview, head over to our forum at cyclinghub.tv/forum. Go get over here, press us, send us to an under thread, read through it, read what other people said, and watch our updates as we go on there. We discuss the different stages, their favorites. You can see our favorites on here. I hope you guys enjoyed this race preview. I'll see you guys on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Have a good time.